You know, some places, they're more than just spots on a map, right? They're these living, breathing stories of time, nature, and culture, all just layered on top of each other. And today, we're going to dive into one of those places, a region that is, and I mean this literally, the center of it all.
So here's a question for you. If you could put your finger right on the geographical heart of India, what would you actually find there? Just think about it for a second. Would it be a big city, a famous monument, or maybe something else entirely?
Well, it turns out the answer isn't just some single point on a map. It's a whole place, the state of Madhya Pradesh. And yeah, it's so central, not just geographically, but to the entire nation's identity, that it's earned the perfect nickname, the heart of India.
All right, so to really get what makes this place tick, we've got to start with its geography. I mean, this is the very foundation that has shaped, well, the entire subcontinent.
And you know the absolute key to this state's identity? It's the Narmada River. For centuries, this incredible, mighty river has been seen as the traditional line in the sand, you could say. It's what separates North India from the southern peninsula. It's this massive geographical divide that really created these two distinct cultural worlds on either side.
Okay, so from the land, let's turn to the people who walked on it. Madhya Pradesh, it's like a museum, but without any walls. It holds some of the oldest human stories you can find anywhere on the subcontinent.
And our journey back in time, it really begins right here, at the Bhimbetka rock shelters. Now, these aren't just some old caves. They're a canvas. Seriously. We're talking about paintings and etchings that go all the way back to the Stone Age. These are some of the very first expressions of human life ever found in India. It's just an absolutely incredible window into a prehistoric world.
But of course, this land didn't just belong to early humans. It became this incredible crossroads for empires. Think about it. Way back in the 3rd century BCE, you had the great Mauryan emperor Ashoka building the magnificent stupas at Sanchi. Flash forward a few centuries, and the Chandela dynasty gives the world the stunning, intricate temples of Khajuraho. Then the Sultanate of Malwa sets up its capital in the fortress city of Mandu, and after them, the Maratha Holkars come in and shape the city of Indore. Every single one left their mark.
You know, the strategic importance of this whole region is just perfectly summed up by the 13th century poet Amir Khusro. And trust me, he wasn't just being poetic when he said this. The fortress of Mandu, sitting way up on this plateau, was a massive military prize. If you controlled Mandu, you had a huge advantage for any campaign into southern India. It was, quite literally, the gateway.
Now, here's something that I find just fascinating about Madhya Pradesh's history. It has this incredible legacy of powerful women rulers, which, let's be honest, was a real rarity in most parts of the world. You had Rani Durgavati, a fierce warrior queen of the Gonds tribe. Then there was Ahilyabai Holkar of Indore, famous for her wisdom and incredible administrative skills. And get this, in Bhopal you had an entire succession of women, the Begums, who ruled for over 100 years, starting with Qutsia Begum back in the 19th century. Just amazing.
But, you know, the story of this state isn't just about human empires. Not at all. We're going to shift now from these ancient stones to the dense, deep forests that are, in their own way, just as vital to India's identity.
25%. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's the share of all of India's tiger reserves that are right here in Madhya Pradesh. This is exactly why they call it the Tiger State. And you can bet that name comes with a huge responsibility for conservation.
And you can absolutely see that commitment to conservation when you look at its incredible national parks. You've got Kanha and Bandhavgarh, which have some of the highest tiger densities anywhere in the country. And then there's Pench National Park. Now, if that landscape looks a little familiar to you, there's a good reason. This is the very forest that inspired Rudyard Kipling's timeless classic, The Jungle Book. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, let's circle back for a moment to that all-important Narmada River. See, unlike a lot of India's other great rivers that kind of slow down and spread out into a big delta when they hit the coast, the Narmada does something totally different. It forms an estuary. What that means is it's a deep, fast-flowing channel that just carves its way right into the Arabian Sea. And that unique geography, it creates a completely different kind of ecosystem at the coast.
So, we've been in the wild heart of the forests. Now let's turn to the vibrant pulse of the people. Because this place is a true cultural mosaic, full of incredibly diverse tribal communities.
And this diversity is everywhere you look across the state. I mean, head over to the Malwa region and you'll find the Bil community and their super energetic Kathi dance. Then move over to Bundelkhand and you'll hear the fog songs of the Saharia tribe. And in Bagilkhand, you've got the Gond and Baiga communities expressing themselves through these soulful birha songs and the really celebratory karma dance.
But you know, to really understand this cultural richness, you have to look at the stories of individuals. People like Buri Bai. She's a celebrated artist from the Bil tribe, and she did something that was, well, revolutionary. She took the traditional art of her community, which was almost always done on walls, and she was the very first to translate it onto paper and canvas. In doing that, she brought it to a whole new global audience.
All right, so we've looked at the ancient past, the wild kingdom, the incredible cultural fabric. So now let's bring it all together and see how these pieces form the modern state of Madhya Pradesh we know today. The state's modern borders were really shaped by two key moments. First, back in 1956, as part of this huge nationwide reorganization of states, the modern version of Madhya Pradesh was born. Then, fast forward to the year 2000, and the state was split, with its eastern districts being carved out to form the brand new state of Chhattisgarh.
Now, politically, Madhya Pradesh is a really big deal on the national stage. It sends 29 members to the Lok Sabha, which is India's lower house of parliament. And as you can see, here's how that breaks down. 19 of those seats are general, but then you have 6 that are reserved for scheduled tribes and 4 for scheduled castes, which really reflects the diverse population of the state.
And today, the state really has two main engines. You've got Bhopal, which is the administrative and political capital, and then you have Indore, which is recognized as the bustling commercial and financial capital. Really, it's the economic powerhouse driving so much of the state. Which really brings us to our final thought here. Just think about the journey we've been on. From Paleolithic caves to thriving tiger reserves, from the reigns of powerful warrior queens to the engines of a modern economy. It really leaves you with a big question, doesn't it? How can just one state, sitting right in the center of it all, manage to hold so many different, vital, and incredible pieces of an entire nation's story?